What's going on, guys? We're closing out Queen 2. Wow. With 7 Seas of Rhye. This is a single. At the last track of the album. Single. Wow. Mercury began developing 7 Seas of Rhye in 1969 when he was with the band Wreckage. He eventually fleshed the song out with contributions from May. In the documentary Queen Days of Our Lives, May recalled, "I've probably never spoken about this before ever, but I remember 7 Seas of Rhye being, it was Freddie's idea. He had this lovely little riff idea on the piano, and I think all the middle eighth is stuff that I did, so we definitely worked on it together, but when it came to the album coming out, Freddie went, 'I wrote that.' And we all went, 'Okay,' laughs, because it didn't seem like that big a deal, but Freddie said, 'You know I wrote the words and it was my idea, so it's my song.'" Damn. Okay. The sort of unwritten law was the person who brought the song in would get the credit for writing that song. Wow. And the money for writing that song. Wow. Much, much later in Queen history, we recognize this fact. Wow. Along with Lily of the Valley from Sheer Heart Attack, the song references a fantasy world or kingdom named Rhye. It's really fictitious, Mercury told interviewer Tom Brown in 1977. "It's a figment of your imagination." A short instrumental version of 7 Seas of Rhye was included as the outro of their first album, with the intent of starting this album with the full version. A song idea occurred with the old music hall song "I Do Like to Be Beside the Seaside," which is sung at the end of 7 Seas of Rhye here and whistled during the intro to the third album, Sheer Heart Attack. Ken Testy recalled, "I joined in on the reprise at the end of 7 Seas of Rhye. So did Pat McConnell and a whole bunch of us. I recall an awful lot of reverb, and Brian played the stylophone on it. But it was done in one day, and we were all totally pissed at the time." 7 Seas of Rhye features a distinctive arpeggiated piano introduction. On the Queen 2 recording, the arpeggios are played with both hands, an octave apart, whereas on the abbreviated Queen recording and most live performances, Mercury played the simpler one-handed version of these arpeggios. The theme also appears at the end of It's a Beautiful Day reprise on the band's final album, Made in Heaven. Oh, wow. All right. Well, here we go, closing it out, 7 Seas of Rhye. Let's do it. Bam. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Challenge
Yeah. 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 Okay. Cool. Yeah. This song, I need to find out if I've heard this because I think I just feel like I've heard this. It was more than just the intro, which, the arpeggios or whatever, which I'd heard, from Queen 1, right? It was more than that. That's why I'm like, what's going on here? Have I heard this? Was this on those recordings that I had when I was a kid? Okay, yeah. What was on this? Yeah, I think I heard this. I think this was on one of the albums that I heard. Yeah, Queen Greatest Hits. Yeah, it just strikes me as more familiar than just Queen 1. So wow. Didn't even remember that I had heard this. It was on one of those Greatest Hits albums that I had. I mean, there was a lot of 17 tracks on this album. Body Language, I don't know if I remember that. Now I'm Here. Yeah, interesting. Wow. Sounds cool. Yeah, single. Okay. Yeah, super jam-packed. Super jam-packed 3 minutes. Under 3 minutes. Piano part is an up-tempo song. It makes sense that this was a single. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, what else would have been the single? What else would have been the single? I don't even know. Okay, so this album is super interesting. Lots of really cool stuff on it. Lots of stuff that I feel like I need to hear again. That's just kind of how I feel about this album. Just like, I feel like this is like an important album. Like even more so than their first album. Yeah, which their first album had some cool stuff on it, but the back half I wasn't as crazy about. Right? Modern Times Rock and Roll, Son and Daughter, Jesus. Wasn't as crazy about it. And then Seven Seas of Rhye was just, that was just a very quick instrumental. Where the first half of the record and Liar was really cool. And then The Night Comes Down was really cool. My Favorite King was really cool. Doing All Right was nice. So where this album, I feel like it's weird. I feel like I like this album more. I feel like the first album was easier to digest than this one. This I need to hear more. And I feel like this is an album where the more I hear it, the more I'm really going to be into it. That's kind of like just how it comes off to me. Yeah, Father and Son was cool. I feel like that was pretty heavy. I feel like already that was pretty heavy in terms of like them saying that like this is arguably one of Queen's heaviest record, maybe their heaviest record. White Queen was really great. I really liked Someday One Day. That was really nice. The Loser in the End was fine. Ogre Battle was fine. Fairy Feller's Master Stroke I liked. Neverborn was really nice. The March of the Black Queen was intense. Funny How Love is nice. And Seven Seas of Rhye, I'm just still shocked that I recognized it. I'm like, wait a minute. I've heard this. Like, when I was a little kid, like when I was young. I've heard this. I've definitely heard this. Yeah, and that one does come off as the single on the album, I would say. I don't know what else would you call a single? Yeah, that's basically the single on the album. Oh, look at this. It says Brian May on Queen 2 and the band Sound. This is very interesting. I didn't read this. Led Zeppelin and The Who are probably in Queen 2 somewhere because they were among our favorite groups. But what we are trying to do differently from either of those groups is sort of layered sound. Yeah. Yeah. The Who had the open chord guitar sounds, but our sound is more based on the overdriven guitar sounds. I also want to build up textures behind the main melody lines. We were trying to push studio techniques to a new limit for rock groups. It was fulfilling all our dreams because we didn't have much opportunity for that on the first album. Yeah, well, they certainly went for it here. Yeah, definitely ambitious. And this was the remaster. I can't even imagine how the original sounded because it sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot. And I'm hoping that, as the records go on, they sound better and better and better, just quality wise, right? Not that it sounded bad, but, it's just, again, it's just a lot. And it's like working out these new techniques. They're working with 16 track recorders as opposed to like Beatles working with 4 track, like all that, you know, you like a decade apart here. So very interesting, really cool, really cool, really cool. This is a super interesting album that I need to listen to again, like as a whole, just nonstop as a whole. But I think it's actually really awesome. And I feel like I really love that Someday, One Day. For some reason, that song like is just back here. I just really like that one. Yeah, nice melody, nice chords. Really liked it. All right, there it is. Sheer Heart Attack. I can't believe I knew that song. I can't believe I knew that Seven Seas of Rhye song. Like, it just struck me so heavy as like, you've heard this before. At some point in your life, you've heard it. Wow. Okay. All right. Again, this whole album feels like this to me. Just feels like, oh wow. Wow, what did I just hear? What did I just hear? Cool. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I'll catch you in the next video.